Today we are going to continue our applications of percent. And so today we'll look at simple interest. Simple interest is used, or we learn that when we talk about borrowing money or even investing money. Simple interest is not the only type of interest, so we can't just say credit cards use this type of interest or car payments are this type of interest, but we will go ahead and take a look at simple interest. So some terms that you see that we need to know. Interest. Interest, which we use capital letter I, is payment for the use of money. So really when you invest money, the bank or someone's using that money to help them make more money, and then they pay you for allowing them to use that. So interest is payment for the use of money. P, or principal, we use the letter P. Principal is the amount of money deposited or borrowed, whichever you're doing, investing or borrowing. So that's the amount that you invest or borrow. The rate, we use R, represent the percent. That represents the percent earned on savings or charged on loans per year. And we write that as a decimal, just like we have before when we've talked about percent. We like to write that as a decimal. And then time is T. We use lowercase t, and that is the time in years. So in years. So if it gives you months, you need to change that to however many years that is. Sometimes it might be like 18 months is a year and a half, or 9 months is 3/4 of a year. So, but you want to do that in years. And then our simple interest formula. The interest is the product of the principal, rate, and time. So interest, using the letters we had up here, the interest is principal times rate times time. Let's jump right in. Sheena put $400 into a savings account. The account earns interest at an annual rate of 6%. If she plans to keep the money in the account for 3 years, how much interest will she earn? Well, we know, so it says how much interest will she earn. That's what we are trying to find. And we know from the simple interest formula that interest equals principal times rate times time. We are trying to find I. Principal, that's the amount that she's putting in. That's the $400. The rate is 6%, and we write that as a decimal, so 6% is 0.06. And then the time is 3 years. And we're going to multiply that out. So 400 times 0.06, 0, 0, and then 24. And then obviously 0 times anything is 0. So we have to move the decimal over 2 places. So that's 24. So 24 times 3. And then 24 times 3. 24 times 3 is 72. So the interest earned over that amount of time is $72. Make sure you put the $ in front, not in back. All right, here's a couple other problems, a little more straightforward. Just say, give you the values. So find the interest earned or paid for each. So we know that interest is principal times rate times time. Principal is $450. Rate, once again, is 6%. We put that as a decimal, and the time is 2 years. So we have 450 times 0.06. We multiply that, we get 0, 30. So we put this 3 up there, and 27. That's a 50. Once again, we move the decimal over 2 places. So these two, that was 27 times 2, which is $54. So the 27 really is how much you earn in 1 year, and then you multiply that by the 2 years. Same type question. So we have interest equals principal times rate times time. This time the principal is 5,000. The rate is 10.5%. We move the decimal over twice. That's going to be 0.105. And that's for 3 years. So we come over and we multiply 5,000 times 0.105. That's 0, 0, 0, 25. We add a 0. Now we're at this place, but that's all zeros. Now we're at the 1, so add 2 zeros. And we have 0, 0, 0, and 1 times 5 is 5. We add those up. We move the decimal over 3 places, 1, 2, 3. And so we get 525 times the 3 years. So a little more multiplying to do. 5, add the 1, 7, and 15. So $1,575. Quite a bit. So again, this actually says it's a loan. So the extra being paid is $1,575. So if you paid some $5,000 and we're using this loan, you'd pay an extra $1,575. So quick life lesson, it helps to try to pay things in cash if possible. So save up to $5,000, then buy the thing. All right. So that was finding the interest. Next, what we want to do is we want to look at the amount. And we use a capital A. And when we say the amount, that is the sum of the principal and the interest. So if you're investing money, you still have your principal, and then you add your interest to that. It's the sum of the principal and the interest. So this says a little quick 3 steps you can do for this. You can find the total amount is the principal plus the interest, substitute the known values, and then add. So we're going to do, it's going to kind of be like the first 2 examples, except that we're going to add on the extra at the end. So here we go. Calculate the interest on a $1,000 loan at a rate of 8.5% for 6 months. What is the amount due on this loan? And so the amount due, you also have to pay back the $1,000. So you'll have to add the $1,000 to the interest. So first, we find our simple interest. So I equals PRT. I say it every time, I write it every time. You need to know this formula for simple interest. Principal is the amount of the loan, so that's the $1,000. The interest rate is 8.5%. We want to change that to a decimal. So the decimal moves over twice. That's 0.085. And then the time, it says 6 months. Well, in our formula, we want to use years. So 6 months, we know, is half a year. So we could use a fraction or we could use a decimal. Either way, so times a half. Well, this we should be able to multiply in our head. Multiplying by 1,000, we move the decimal over 3 places. So when we do 1,000 times 0.085, that's moving the decimal. So that is 85 times 1/2. Multiplying by half is like dividing by 2. So if we think through that, 85 divided by 2 is going to be 42.5. That's your interest. If you could not do that mentally, you can multiply it. and you still get the 42.5. So that's the interest that you need to pay. It says calculate the interest on $1,000, so we calculated the interest. And then what is the amount due? Well, you're going to owe your $1,000 plus the extra $42.50, and that gives you $1,042.50 that needs to be paid. A couple more examples. Find the amount after 6 months if $1,400 is in an account that pays 9% interest. So what we want to do first is find the interest. Hey, interest equals principal times rate times time. Do you know it yet? Principal times rate times time. So our principal is the amount that is going in. That is 1,400. The rate is the percent. We write that as a decimal. That is 0.09. And 6 months. Well, what is 6 months in years? That is half a year. So we're going to do our multiplication again. 1,400 times 0.09. Get 0, 0, 6. Add the 3, 12. We move our decimal over 2 places. So that is 126 times 1/2 equals 63. That's the interest earned, but we can add that to our original amount. So 1,400 plus 63 gives us 1,463. Pretty good investment. And find the total payback for a $105,200 loan over 20 years at a rate of 5.5%. So this might be a loan that you take out for a house, 20 years. So how much will you be paying back over that time? First, we want to find the interest that you'll be paying. So interest is principal times rate times time. Principal, $105,200. The rate, move the decimal over twice, that's 0.055. And this is paid over 20 years. Got a multiplication problem here to do. So 105,200 times 0.055. All right, 0. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10, so we add the 1. 25, 26, add the 2. 5 times 0 is 0 plus 2. And 5 times 1 is 5. We add the 0 on, and then we're multiplying by 5 again, so it's going to be the exact same numbers from this line. We just have to make sure we put the extra 0 in. So 0, 0, 0, 6, 2, 5. Our last one's a 0, so we don't need to multiply because 0 times anything is 0. And then we have to move our decimal over 3 places. So the interest, 5,786, that's per year, but we still have to multiply by 20 years. So we're going to double this, so 5,786 times 20. Obviously, when we multiply by 0, we get all zeros, and now we multiply by 2. 2 times 6 is 12, add the 1. 2 times 8 is 16, add the 1, that's 17. 2 times 7 is 14, add the 1, that's 15. 10 and 11. So that is the total interest. There's no decimals to move over. So we got $115,720. We need to take the original and add the interest. Well, the interest is actually even more than the original. 115,720. We're going to add those together. So the total payback, $220,920. And there we have it. So that's using percents when working with simple interest.